Welcome to the Zachrilege cast. I'm probably gonna be called ass. Podcast, YouTube video, interview program that features me talking to some of the best and brightest in the atheist / secular / quitting community. This is episode number 136. I am recording live on March 20th, 2018. Thank you to Jen from Not Another Atheist Podcast for being on last week, and I'm sure when the court records from last weekend are unsealed, we're going to get a hell of a story. I'm still going to say thank you for letting me moderate the podcast panel. Quite an adventure last weekend. Now, there would be no Zachrilege cast without tonight's guests, and I'm sure you'll never stop blaming them for this. They were originally the asses of the atheist community, and now I have to be ass enough for two. Unfortunately, I have so many out-of-context quotes for these two. We're going to try to sprinkle them in during the show, but first we have an out-of-context quote from me. My equipment tends to work. Hi, Bobby and Ashley, formerly of No Religion Required, now semi-podcast retired. How's it doing? How are you doing?
Well rested.
Well, hey, y'all.
Well rested. Didn't we just have a crazy weekend? I mean, I guess it's a couple days after.
Well rested, hell.
Well, we did have a crazy weekend, but we spent the last 2 days just kind of chilling at home before we go back to work tomorrow.
That's true. We did.
We've had 2 days to recoup from the weekend.
Is that how the wily veterans deal with like conventions? I'm thinking about, ReasonCon. Maybe an extra day off after seems like a pretty smart call.
Yeah, it is. I highly recommend it because I was doing the whole leave right after work on Friday, get up there, or leaving at noontime on Friday, get up there, and then come back on Sunday and then be back at work on Monday.
Okay, we'll decline that call. Sorry about that.
Satan calling. Sorry.
Yeah.
And then, but now it's like, I've got to have a day before and a day after.
Yeah.
To just, be able to get prepared for it and then recover from it.
Well, maybe once you reach our age, Zach, you'll understand, All you younger guys can go.
I'm feeling we're pretty close in age. I'm 44, so.
Well, Bobby is knocking on 60.
Is he?
Yeah. You didn't know by his hair, man?
Or lack thereof. And what little bit I have is Snow White. So, I mean,
The hat coverage is still lovely.
Yes, absolutely. No, I am now enjoying the benefits of a senior discount.
Sweet.
Yes. My 10%.
Okay, well, we'll start with one out of context quote. So we'll start with a Bobby out of context quote. I'm a professional fuck up.
That's not out of context. That's actual truth. I am a professional fuck up.
And from Ashley, and this is a throwback to the early days of the show. Don't rip me a new whom-ha hole.
Yeah.
That's right. Don't be ripping them whom-ha holes.
Yeah, that's when we were trying to do a clean show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That clean show didn't last long.
No.
Yeah, this show's not clean. I probably should say explicit tag for a reason. And, whatever happens vocally happens. So this is the third in my series of exit interview podcasts. I feel like when someone leaves the podcasting community or quits a podcast, they just kind of disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And in one case, their entire podcast history disappears from the internet. But you don't get an opportunity. Sometimes at a job, you get an extra exit interview unless you do the take the job and shove it route. So I wanted to get the two of you on to kind of talk about No Religion Required. And of course, the weekend we just had together, and I'll show the shirt I'm wearing, the NanoCon that we were at last weekend. So we'll start with an easy question, and Miss Ashley can just sip her tea for a few minutes. How did No Religion Required get started, and what was the format like at the start?
There he goes, making it all about Bobby C.
You would get
I'll turn it around.
You would get your
maybe.
Okay. The podcast actually started a little over 4 years ago. It was just me and an Xbox headset sitting in the back room with a laptop and Audacity running. And I don't know, at the time I was a very angry atheist. I was just coming into the atheist community, and extremely pissed off about religion, anything that had to do with Christianity, because that's what I came out of, essentially. And just angry. And it got to the point to where I had to go sit down and get some stuff off my chest, because if I didn't, Ashley and I were going to kill each other. She got tired of my negativity, so I needed an outlet. And the podcast kind of became the outlet. I knew nothing of podcasting, nothing. All I knew is you talk, record it, and I learned how to do a little bit of editing and host it, and there you go. I can honestly say I had no intention of even trying to get listeners. I didn't think I would. You know, my goal was if only one person listens, cool. And it just kind of took off. Then ReasonCon 1 happened, and Bill Robbins told me, he said, you need to have Ashley on the show. So I kind of talked to her about it. She was against it at first, didn't want anything to do with it, and kind of talked her into it. And she came on at episode 15, and everything changed after that. And everybody fell in love with her.
You kind of already answered the question, but I gotta pull it out there. When did the show start getting good? I mean, when did Miss Ashley join?
Episode 150 or episode 15.
Well, not really, because you were doing news stories for me around episode 13. She would do one news story, and then that was it. But she came on when we finally got our first podcast kit with microphones, mixer, and could actually have more than one person sitting down. That was episode 15.
Yeah. And I ain't shut up since. Couldn't get me to talk in the beginning. Now you can't get me to shut up.
Amen.
I didn't say I agree.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think the negativity is definitely something that pops up on my end. I think that's something that happens early on in the transition. So how are you able to kind of show that this community is all right and atheism isn't as scary as it could be, and of course offering Ashley, some airtime?
I didn't really understand the question.
What were your arguments to get her on the show?
The biggest one is because
it was easy. I let her listen to an episode. I let her listen to the Living with a Believer episode, because that episode was about her. She was still a believer. And I opened up that episode with a rant about living with a believer and how they don't have the right to say anything, and just went off on my intro for the show. And it was all geared toward her. I let her listen to that episode, and she said, you know what? You need another person. And I'm like, I've been telling you this. And finally, I just convinced her, said, if nothing else, you're a believer, I'm a non-believer. We can start having conversations, back and forth. Not so much a debate, just conversations back and forth about two different belief systems, or one belief system and a non-belief system. And when part of that was, I wanted her to read the Bible.
Because I had never read the Bible.
She'd never read the Bible. I'm like, cool, nothing else, we could talk, and then we'll start reading the Bible. That was episode 15 on to, I think we finished out at 187, I think. And the Bible's what did it. I didn't do it.
Well, a lot of it, the Bible did it, but I think a lot of it with me, why I didn't want to be on a show, is because I thought people ain't gonna listen to me. I sound stupid. I'm just some country redneck girl from Savannah, Georgia. Who's gonna listen to me? And then I realized that the show actually became a therapy session for me. And plus, I had met a lot of great people, such as yourself, Zach. I'm hoping that you don't use anything crazy. That's why I said something nice.
Well, I don't know about the great thing. He's all right.
But
all right is about.
He's all right.
As far as we need to go.
I met people in the community, and and I listened to them go, well, Ashley, we thought we sounded stupid too, or them going, well, I sound stupid too. So I mean, and it was great. I ended up enjoying it. I ended up, I enjoy having conversations like we are right now on the show. There's times when I do miss No Religion Required, because there were some things that we would talk about on that show. But the void from that has been filled because I am on another show now. I kind of like just decided to make my place on it.
I'll say, yeah, you kind of invited yourself on and become a.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
But in that show was called Hope After Dark.
Because we couldn't have you on the clean one.
No.
Yeah.
So in Hope After Dark is just like we rant about anything and everything that comes along.
It's the early days of NR.
Yeah.
It's how NR was in the early days.
Yeah. And, I have a blast doing it. I do have a blast when we, the thing about the conventions is that I'm glad that people put on the conventions because we do go to them, but it gives us the opportunity to go out and spend time with the people that are in this community, the family that we've made in this community. It gives us, some people travel to Six Flags and Walt Disney World. What do? We travel to the closest, convention that's going to happen that year to go hang out with everybody and have like a little mini vacation. So that's the biggest reason why I stayed in it is because of the community.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the next question, I'm going to do an out of context quote, but I'm going to let you decide. Who said it? You led me to all these people that have touched me in so many ways.
That had to be me.
Ashley.
Really? Mm-hmm. That was you.
Mm-hmm.
There's one I'm not sure who said it because I didn't write down who said it. So let me say it and you decide. You have to earn that ass.
Oh, that's me. No doubt about it. And I can tell you who I said it to. You have to earn that ass. That's right. Absolutely. Because we had somebody who's like, I haven't gotten called an ass yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, you got to earn that ass.
There's just some people that were so genuine that it was very difficult. Now, I'm not saying that the people I call asses are not genuine.
Oh, they're asses.
But there were just so many people that I've met that were so genuine that, and it was difficult. You can't go, I support the LGBT community, and then me go, you ass. You can't do that.
Well, that's why I say
you can
earn it. No, you have to earn Miss Ashley's ass.
Seriously, you just gave him another out of context question.
Yeah, what's the whole concept behind the calling of each other ass? I mean, you started out, and I think it might have been Hugh you were talking about, who it was difficult to call him that because it tends to be something you say to someone you love, but at the moment maybe you don't love them so much.
Ashley, put your phone down and answer the question.
It was just something that I started, I guess. Instead of going, you're an asshole, it just sounded so much more pleasant to say you're an ass.
Yeah, but if you just took the word hole away, that makes ass negative. How did ass become a term of endearment?
Because if I didn't care about you and you were being an asshole, you got called an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But if I cared about you and you were just, being, who you are, being yourself, which is all I've ever asked of anybody, you got called the ass.
There you go.
So, Bobby, do you remember wistfully the good old days of the show when you did like 3-hour shows? You had like crazy preachers on, and you had a nice rotating stable of co-hosts.
Do I remember it? Sure, I remember it. Do I miss it? Hell no. I don't miss those 3-hour shows. I don't miss the editing that came along with it, and honestly, I don't miss talking to preachers. The last pastor we had on broke me, man. After that one, I was done. I just couldn't bring myself to do it again. So
who was that?
Pastor Tommy. Pastor Tommy was
it the Saturn Rings of Saturn one?
Yeah, Ashley. I forget what Ashley asked him, and he said, "Well, have you ever seen the Rings of Saturn?" We're like, fuck yeah, we have."
Yeah, it was.
That was the only guy that I
give proof that I guess Adam existed.
Something like that.
Yes.
Said, have you seen the Rings of Saturn? My favorite though was that Jeremiah responded, "I've seen it through a microscope." So it's the kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, telescope.
Yeah, it's that guy really just, that's the only person that I think in the history of the show that I ever just was finally done with. I'm done. Just get rid of him. I was so frustrated. You came to us. We didn't go to you.
Right.
And I was just done. And I haven't had one since. Hadn't had any desire to. I was like, I just can't take the stupidity anymore.
I think there's a period where you want to kind of hear these debates because you want to hear the arguments. But then after a while, you realize that there really isn't anything new on that side.
No, because I've sit back and I've listened to like Matt debate a PhD, right? And that PhD is not saying anything different from the truck driver that I work with. He's not saying anything different. He's using bigger words and sounds more intelligent, but the argument is still the same because that's all they have to work with. I mean, if you only have one book, that's all you've got.
Yeah, the last similar one I checked out, it was Aaron Ra arguing with Kent Hovind about evolution.
Ugh, I can't do it.
And it was interesting that Kent Hovind kind of understood the terminology, but somehow he was able to twist it and make it. It's like, it's one of those lying or stupid moments. You're like, either you're lying about what you believe or you're just like ignorant, but I don't know how you make it work. And it's hard to listen to that stuff. It's like Atheist Experience is one of the first podcasts I listened to, but after a while, you're like, I don't want to hear religious people get yelled at or argued with because it's, yeah, you're done. And I think that's something that happens on a show.
Yeah.
Like I've noticed that I've had episodes where I don't even talk about religion in an hour. And that used to be the only thing I talked about.
Yeah, but I think most people would agree with me, is that for a lot of us, first getting into the atheist mindset, getting into the community, we come in with such anger, with such animosity that we want to sit back and listen to a preacher get his ass handed to him. But after a while and being in the community for long enough, your view changes. You no longer want to listen to that. It's like, okay, been there, did that, got the T-shirt, time to move on. Because you get out of the stage where you're no longer angry. Because once you move out of anger, that's what's up. And that's when you start moving toward doing other things to help move the community forward instead of sitting back bitching the entire time.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
So after 4 years, what made you decide I'm done with this show? Because feel like there have been times where you really considered it, but what made you say, okay, we're finished? And, no fake retirement.
Oh, no.
We'll see, but
retirement done. It had gotten to the point to where I think we had said all that we wanted to say. We'd said everything. When it gets to the point to where doing the show becomes more of an obligation or a job than a hobby, and when it's no longer enjoyable, and you're sitting back racking your brain trying to figure out, okay, what the hell are we going to talk about this week? Because for me, I was no longer angry. That's what the show was. The show was me venting. And now, I'm no longer angry. I don't have very much more to say. And it was like, God, man, Wednesday already? Son of a bitch. When it gets to that point, it's time to shut it down, because your listeners deserve more than that. Your listeners deserve better than that. If they're going to spend their time listening to you, they deserve to receive the very best that you have to offer. And if it gets to the point to where you're ever calling it in, it's time to quit, because the listeners deserve more.
Well, I wanted to bring up some of your co-hosts during the show's run.
There's been a few.
What led you to get the millennials on, Jeremiah and Morgan? They were co-hosts for a good while.
Over a year.
Well, Jeremiah had called in on the voicemail line, and we just fell so in love with Jeremiah through the voicemail line that we asked him if he wanted to come on and do a Bible segment with us.
And he started out with just
he started out just doing Bible study with us. And then he became such, we started getting such great feedback with him being on there, because he brought something else to the show.
Yeah, he brought a younger voice.
Yeah. And so we decided to, ask him if he wanted to join the show. And then with Morgan came on as a guest to talk about Jesus Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And, people just fell in love with Morgan.
Yeah, when she came out and talked about French camp and just the way we all gelled and got along so well.
Yeah.
And she had mentioned that she's always wanted to do a radio show. And it wasn't one of those where she mentioned it to a guy that has one so that maybe he'll pick her up. It was just in passing talking. And I went back and listened to the episode that Morgan had came on to talk about the French camp and just the way we all gelled. She's country, I mean, she was everything that we would want as part of NRR. Brilliant, extremely smart, going through law school, very intelligent. Jeremiah going for his doctorate. I mean, just these were very smart people that I thought would add something to the show that we can't offer.
Mm-hmm.
A younger perspective, a perspective from the millennial side of the house instead of us old fucks.
Yeah, and they did. And they did bring something to the show. And then I think towards when we started, I'm not going to say because Jeremiah and Morgan came on, because that's not the case. But, maybe after like a year after Jeremiah and Morgan had gotten on, just, a whole bunch of shit was going on in the community. And that was when Bobby and I were like, we had just reached our boiling point, and we were like, we wanted to try to regain our love for No Religion Required.
Yeah, because that it was about at that time that I was ready to sell the equipment.
Yeah,
I mean, I was done.
Right. So we were like, we're just going to go back to square one.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the basics. Just
we're
you and me.
Right. And we did, and it was it in a sense it kind of did help us. It reminded us, when we went back to square one, it reminded us of why we were doing the show. And a lot of people reached out to us and were like, no, don't give up. And it's not so much that we were giving up. It was the fact that we had just had enough of the bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, of course there's going to be bullshit everywhere, but there is only so much bullshit that a person can take.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot.
And when, like at work, I get paid to put up with bullshit.
Yeah, you didn't get much of a paycheck.
I didn't get much of a paycheck from NRR.
No.
So I have my fans, and I have my family, and it was great to be able to do that for them. And then of course Alex was a big, huge part of not only my chosen family, but my birth family as well.
Family, yeah.
And so just Alex, just becoming a part of both sides of the family, and then we wanted to bring Alex on and start talking to him about, because No Religion Required was about religion or lack of. So we needed to bring it back to something that was discussing, religion or lack thereof. And bringing Alex on was a good, as a guest, and then another guest, and then he was another guest, and then he was another guest, and then he just kind of, it was just, okay, Alex, this is what we're doing tonight. So, Alex, that there was a good click there, because we were non-religious and Alex is religious, but he's not your typical religious person that we all know and hate.
That's a good thing.
Right. So in a lot of ways, Alex helped bridge that gap. So Alex came in on No Religion Required at a perfect timing. No, I'm not going to say at a perfect timing, because maybe he should have come in a little bit sooner. Mm-hmm. And maybe No Religion Required wouldn't have lost its way.
I don't know if we lost our way. I think we just got tired.
Well, yeah, we did.
And it got to the point to where it was a chore.
Yeah.
When we're sitting around at 6:30 going, fuck, man, dragging ourselves up to do a show.
Right.
And a lot of people joke and say Alex was the death nail.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he was. But, life got in the way, work and My kids are getting older. They're getting more active in school. And,
Sports.
I had to make a decision, show or working kids. Well, work pays my bills and my kids can't drive themselves and they can't support themselves. So, I had to make a decision. And at the time, I was also doing Hope After Dark as well. So, it's not like in some ways I feel like I gave up one for the other, but I really didn't. I just kind of gave up something because it became too much. And, No Religion Required did its ride. It's
It did
like,
what it was supposed to do.
yeah, I mean, it's like TV shows, I mean, you have so many seasons, and then after so many seasons, you have a series finale. All good things must come to an end.
And it did.
And I'd rather have left No Religion Required when we did. And instead of it getting so bad, because I want people to remember us for the good times. And I don't want the last thing for somebody to remember was NRR sucked. I don't want that.
May it rest in peace.
Something to be said. So I got a little echo there. Okay. I did want to get one more quote from Jeremiah and Morgan before we move on. And this is, of course, we'll start with Jeremiah and go to Morgan. When you say you're bisexual, does that mean you have sex every other year or twice a year? And Morgan's response, it means fuck off.
It means fuck off. Yep. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Love those two. And it's so funny because now whenever I see Jeremiah at conventions, he comes up to me, he's like, hey, mama. And he calls me mama.
And he wants to kill me. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I can understand you fired him.
Did the end of the show depress Alex so much that he had to move to Albany, Georgia? That's really low.
He had already moved.
We can't really speak on why he moved to Albany. He was sad to see it go because I think Alex really enjoyed doing the show. He was really sad to see it go. He understood, but he was sad to see it go.
Yeah, he was. It became a project for him to do. It's something that he was able to look forward to every week. Yeah. He had so much personally that was going on that this was his way of getting away. Yeah, it was his outlet of getting away from a lot of people. Because, I mean, Zach, are you seriously sitting there thinking, okay, this bill's got to be paid and, this dinner's got to be made. Oh, I got to go feed the cat while you're doing your show?
Nope, already done.
Okay, then. So it gives you, it's an out.
I don't have kids. I feel like that's like 50 extra hours a week.
It is.
It is.
And probably that's underestimating it.
It is. You're dog tired. You stay dog tired.
24/7.
Dog tired, boss. Dog tired.
But speaking of show sidekicks, what is Myrtle going to do now that the show's over?
Myrtle died.
Myrtle did not die. Myrtle is retired.
Did Myrtle go to the, was it Catfish Creek trailer park?
I personally killed Myrtle.
Look, Myrtle's in Florida for the winter, okay? She will come back this way.
She's not allowed back.
She will come back this way sometime during the summer.
I hope not.
You never know. She might make an appearance on Hope After Dark.
She would never make an appearance on Hope After Dark.
Oh, that would be cool though if she did.
Spin-off characters.
No, it wouldn't be.
Oh
cool.
my God. I need to call her and see when she's going to be back.
Myrtle is not allowed on Hope After Dark.
I'm going to have to call her.
I'm making an executive decision.
I'm going to have to call her and see when she's coming back.
Yeah, you call her. Go ahead.
I will.
She's going to make a wasted trip because I'll send her ass out the door.
No, you won't.
She ain't allowed.
You won't send Myrtle out the door.
She ain't allowed.
Myrtle does things for you that no other woman can do.
Myrtle ain't touched me.
Myrtle's wanted to do things. So that Myrtle had, I mean, if you haven't approached Jeremiah at one of the conferences, in real life and done the Myrtle voice, if you haven't done that yet, next time.
Look, the closest I ever got to
What are you talking about, the Myrtle voice?
The closest I've ever got to having a threesome was with you and Myrtle. And that still didn't work.
It still didn't work.
That bitch didn't show up.
There is no Myrtle voice.
You're crazy as a two-dick dog.
There is no Myrtle voice.
Okay. All right.
I feel like there'd be an outfit or something going on there.
Turtle is real.
Yeah. Okay. In your mind, I agree. I'm sure.
She's like Jesus.
So, speaking of things you gain from the show, without the show, would you have been able to meet people like Jim and Misty Dobler, Hugh Mann is counting the fucks during your show, and of course the barroom crowd, and
Hell no.
of course countless others?
No, of course not. Through the show, we've built such a strong family with the NRR family. We have an amazing inner circle. We have a very close circle of people that we spend a lot of time with, and I think had we not done that show, I know for a fact we wouldn't have met any of them.
You know what I think's cool, and I noticed it this weekend, is that we have our inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Our inner circle consists of people that have another inner circle.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
Right. But what's cool about that is that the people that are in our inner circle that have another inner circle with other people, the other people, we're all respectful to each other. You know, we're not like, oh, you're part of you got your own inner circle. I'm gonna be. We're not a clique. You know what I mean? You know how sometimes cliques are like that.
I don't know what you mean, but I'm sure you do.
Well, you know how cliques think that they're better than the other clique.
Sure.
Okay. Well, you know, one thing that I noticed this weekend is that we might not all know each other. We know of each other, but we might not all know each other, but we're all respectful of each other.
Sometimes.
Yeah, let's not get out of control.
Yeah, sometimes.
Fuck you.
I would. I am.
Okay. Out of context quotes. Got to keep going. A little more here. This is from Bobby. I wasn't touching anything.
Okay.
And from Miss Ashley, did you have your pecker sucked as a child?
To Eli Bosnick. Yep. Yep. Because he was a Jew.
A Jew.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I got into the show is because it was cool for me to hear people with a Southern accent talking about being atheists.
Mm-hmm.
But why is it that people are terrified of the Southern accent? As Eli said in the episode, hearing a Southern person say, and Ashley should probably say the word, Jew, is frightening to him. What's that all about?
I'll let Ashley go first. I know the answer, but go ahead.
My only guess is because we are the only folks that can add 3 million syllables into one.
That ain't why.
Why?
Something called the Ku Klux Klan and Jim Crow. Because all of your Klan members, all of your Jim Crow stuff was predominantly Southern because of slavery. Right. So there's automatically a negative connotation attached to you because you say y'all and you sound like we do. Right. So when you take someone like Eli that's from New York City and you sit him down with two what he would call rednecks, and to hear us talk, it's frightening. Because whenever I was stationed in New York, people just wanted to sit down and talk to me. They didn't give a shit. They just wanted to hear me talk. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's so different from what they're used to. And there's that bad side of the Southern heritage that they look at. It's the South will rise again mentality.
Yeah. And
no, the fuck it won't.
Yeah, because
we are our worst enemy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that we come across so nice. Our accents are so, oh my Lord, how I declare, bless your poor. We're so nice, but behind that niceness is bitch.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Because I will be the first to tell you, I can be just as nice as I want to be, but I can be a bitch when I want to be too.
Well, I can tell you when I lived
and people will never know it.
Well, when I lived in New York, the thing I loved the most about living in New York was there was no hidden agenda. They said what they had to say, right? And if it hurt your feelings, they flat out didn't care. If they thought you were a rat bastard, they called you a rat bastard right to your face. To where down here, everything is covered up with the quote unquote Southern hospitality that we think we have to have. The yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes or no, sir. You know, we're too worried about hurting someone else's feelings.
That's true.
Yeah. That's why it's scary. Damn Klan.
Good point.
Thank you.
Now, we had an event last weekend,
We did.
NanoCon 2018. What was it like? Because you were there during the olden days of the first NanoCon 2 years ago in 2016.
Mm-hmm. Was there a question?
What was it like
In 2016 or
to go to because I didn't make it to the first year and you were there.
the first one was rather small. There might have been 150 people there, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
It was still the same
it was
setup.
kind of the same setup. They still had their speakers. They still had their keynote. They still did workshops. I mean, it was still kind of the same setup. The difference was the after party was done at the school. They had a stage set up with a band that came in for the after party. It was kind of exactly the same, Zach, just less people. This year's was like, when you look at the list of people that were saying that they were coming to the conference, I kind of pictured it as ReasonCon, what ReasonCon would be. Because ReasonCon now every 2 years, because that's just a lot of work for Gene, you know, every 2 years. And I was like, well, maybe NanoCon can be on the off years. Because the same people that goes to ReasonCon that were in driving distance went to NanoCon.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you had the big wedding on Sunday.
Right. We didn't go last year's because Mama got in the way.
Yeah, your mother passed on the weekend of NanoCon last year.
It's like the two of you have done a show before, because it's like, oh crap, I was about to say, hey, why didn't you make it last year?
Yeah, we are professional fuck ups. Yeah.
Mom got in the way.
We've done it before.
Damn her.
So that's why we didn't make it. She died.
She gone.
She gone.
I heard that Alex was involved in this too.
What, her dying? No.
Well, I hope not, but it'd be a good time to talk about.
That's a funny story about Alex being involved. So yeah, Alex was involved.
But I must say, not with the death.
No,
Okay.
not with the death.
Yeah.
Alex was there pretty much right there along
Every
with
step of that
me
way.
every single day that I was up at the hospital. He always made a point to at least see me. Bobby had called Alex the night that we got the call that we need to come up there, and Alex was at the bar getting drunk with a date. So we pulled him away from his date, and so he did a prayer over my mother drunk.
He did.
But you know what? The thing about it, the more I think about that, Mama wouldn't have wanted it any other way, because Mama loved her liquor.
Yeah.
You know, she gave up cigarettes, but she refused to give up her drinking.
Right.
And then once everything was said and done, we went and dropped Alex back off at the bar and to his date.
That's right.
I imagine I would have loved to.
And that's why Northerners are scared to death of us, because we pick our preacher up from the bar.
Right.
And the preacher prayed over your mama drunk.
Yep.
And we took him back to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they wonder why we're the weird ones.
You know, I would have liked to have heard that conversation when Alex got back to his date. So how are things going? She died.
She died.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I guess, did that relationship continue, or is that just...
Oh, no, it's dead.
As dead as her mama.
Well, you mentioned that you're going to, you were considering spreading the ashes as part of your trip to Nashville. So I believe there's a story behind that.
Yeah, funny story.
Yeah, that's a funny story.
She lost her mama.
I lost my mama. So Mama was cremated, and I do have her big urn that's sealed. I'm just not ready to. I don't know if I'll ever be ready to part with that or not. There may come a day, there may not, and if it doesn't, that's fine. But we had these necklaces that were made up that had some of Mama's ashes in them, and we gave some to a couple of people, and I had one left, and I was going to use that to spread it over the mountains in Tennessee. Well, I looked all last week for it, and I couldn't find her. I've lost her.
She gone. We can't find her. She lost her mama.
I lost my mama. I'm more away from
Who's
more.
part?
And I was like, why didn't you just put your mama in the jewelry box where you know where she was? Now that makes too much damn sense. Keep it going.
Well, see, here's the messed up thing is that I know I did something with it. And I remember where it was sitting when I did something with it. I just don't know what I did with it.
We moved since then. I
Right.
think.
But the problem is that we moved to an apartment that's identical to the other apartment.
Mhm.
So it's like, I'm trying to remember, did I do something with it at the other apartment or did I do something with it at the new apartment?
No, what's going to happen is we're going to be pussyfooting around here, and Mama's going to show up.
Yep. And it
Yeah.
won't be the first time that I
No.
mean, that's not going to be the last time we're not going to be in the mountains. So,
She lost her mom.
yeah, twice.
Well, when you heard ReasonCon wasn't happening this year, how fast did you say, okay, we got to go to a conference and NanoCon is, for you, not terribly close, but close enough?
Not that fast, to be honest with you.
Yeah. We kind of, because we did a lot of traveling last year.
Yeah.
We did ReasonCon, we did PastaCon,
We did Secular Saturday.
We did Secular Saturday. We did, we went to Philly a couple of times. We've been to North Carolina a couple of times. And it got to the point where we're like, ooh, break.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, the only reason that I went to NanoCon this time was because I officiated Callie and Celeste's wedding. Had they not been having their wedding that Saturday, that Sunday, we probably wouldn't have gone.
Life, it gets in the way.
True. Now, at the last ReasonCon, you were the host.
The MC, yeah.
The MC.
Yeah.
Hostess with the mostest. Even if it's incorrect, I'm going to keep saying it.
I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, that's all right.
You were dedicated, man. I don't even think you got to eat.
I
You were
didn't.
stuck up there all day.
I didn't eat.
I brought my own food, so I was not going to die.
Hour in between guests.
But were you in cahoots with Callie regarding her proposal at ReasonCon last year?
I won't say I was in cahoots with her. I found out about it the day of. Gene had come to me and said, okay, I need your help to make this go off without a hitch. So my job was to make sure that Shelly Siegel was in place and queued up, ready to go for whenever Callie popped the question. That was my job. I was in on it, but I didn't know about it weeks in advance. I found out like the day of. So I wasn't in on it. I just had a hand in making sure that everything went smoothly.
I do think I remember Lucinda Illusions standing on a chair and being the same height as you.
That's possible.
That is possible.
That's possible.
But when did you find out? When they were like, okay, we're engaged. Did Callie reach out to you and say, hey, I want you to do this ceremony?
Callie called me down for breakfast on Sunday morning and said that her and Celeste wanted to talk to me. That was just that was a Sunday morning before ReasonCon ended. And said they had a question for me and asked if I would officiate their wedding. Was truly an honor for me. I felt honored that they even thought enough of me to ask to do that. And I said, absolutely, I'll gladly do it. We weren't expecting it to be as soon as it was. We weren't expecting it to be, on the back of NanoCon. But everything just worked out to where Gail Jordan allowed her to use her house and her farm. And I mean, everything just worked out. And I told her, I said, absolutely, I'll go get my celebrancy and I'll marry you guys. And that's what I did this past Sunday. So
what do you have to do to become a humanist celebrant?
Well, first you have to be a member of the American Humanist Association. You have to start there. And there's an application process. There's a long questionnaire that you have to fill out and is submitted. And also there has to be references. You have to give them references, and the references have to go through the questionnaire. And I mean, it's just...
Hey, who are your references? I got to know.
My references were Jim Dobler, Jerry DeWitt, Bill Robbins, and Gene Elliott.
Well, 4.
Yeah, I had to back up just in case. They only needed 3, and they're sent an email, which is a questionnaire. I don't really get to see what is said because it goes back to the American Human Association. And if everything is clear and you've paid your application fee and they're satisfied with the answers that you gave to your own questionnaire, they will give you your celibacy. It's a long process. It's not something that happened in a matter of 3 weeks. I mean, it took over a month.
When did you finally have it?
About 2 weeks before the wedding, and I think I started it in late December.
I was wondering if you're at a point where you're starting to get nervous, like, uh-oh.
I was, because I sent an email to them going, look, I need to know something. I'm a couple weeks out from this. I need to know something so that if something's wrong and I can't get it, I need to let them know and give them time to find another one. And they didn't respond, but the email I got about 4 days after that was, congratulations. Here's your celibacy. So,
Well, let me set the scene. So the wedding happened Sunday morning. The conference was Saturday. We're on a farm in Murfreesboro, which is like 30 minutes from Nashville, but you're on a farm. You really do seem like you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
What was it like that morning? How did you pick your outfit, and how'd you come up with the words you said, because those were good words?
Oh, thanks. My outfit was easy. Jeans, a shirt, and a ball cap and shoes. I mean, anybody that knows me, that's kind of how I dress. Hugh Man walked up to me and threw his shirt at me and said, you need to wear this shirt too, which is the outer shirt that I was wearing. Thanks, Hugh Man. And as far as the words, some of them are mine, some of them aren't. When you become a human celebrant, you also get documentation on how to do weddings and funerals and, you know, all these different ceremonies. And they have scripts in there for you just to give you an idea of, to get you started. Some of the ceremony was mine. Some of it come from the American Human Association as far as a secular wedding. But some of it was mine. So I kind of threw my own in with what the awesomeness that the American Human Association already had.
So Ashley, how was Bobby doing that morning?
How was I doing that morning?
Yeah, I want to see if she was still there.
Oh, she's playing with her phone.
Oh no, I'm still here. He did great. I mean, he, you know, got up, got everybody up, sent us to breakfast, and we headed out to the farm.
Was it perfect that a black cat came to visit during the ceremony?
Oh my God, that was so fucking awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the black cat or the rings.
Oh yeah, because see, Celeste had left her ring
No.
at home. No, hold on. Let me finish.
Back up. Let's hear the story.
Yeah, before they came to Tennessee, they had to drive 2 hours back to go get the ring because Celeste had left her ring.
Yes, because she had forgotten it. That's right.
And it was the irony of the fact that the rings got left in the house on the day of the ceremony. And, you know, Callie's like, oh, hold on. She's the runaway bride.
Yeah, Kelly walked up and everybody was like, wait, she like go left. And we're standing there for at least, it wasn't 5 minutes, but it seemed like 5 minutes.
Celeste's mom walked her down the aisle. I helped Celeste up onto the deck, and she said, do you have the rings? And I'm like, no, I don't have the rings. And then Callie's mom walked her out, and I told Callie, said, I need the rings. And that's when Callie said, okay, be right back. She ran into the house to get the rings. But yeah, the black cat was just perfect.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think I was more nervous than they were. Because for me, being a part of something that important, you know, this is something that is so special to them. And to have an opportunity to be a part of that, the last thing you want to do is ruin that ceremony for them. You know, you want to make it as special as you can for them. So I was nervous already because I didn't want anything to go wrong. And then on top of the fact that I'm standing up there with Callie and Celeste, two people that I absolutely love, and hell, I'm trying to keep from tearing up because I love them so much, and because of just what's going on in front of me. You know, it was just an amazing an amazing ceremony,
Yeah, it was. It was beautiful.
and they both looked beautiful.
Yes, they did.
And it was great because you were talking earlier about how your podcast got you to meet all these friends, a lot of whom were there.
Yeah.
And of course, Kelly and Celeste met through Kathy's Manifesto. So there you go.
Yeah. They all went full circle.
So Ashley, do you think you're ever going to finish reading the Bible? I know Susie's still reading it on Burrum Atheist. Are you done?
No. I doubt it because it's just, oh my God, it's so fucking boring. And pretty much everybody has read it. Now I know that the fun part is listening to me read it. I know that.
Titty titties, y'all.
Yeah. But it's just, it's so fucking boring. I mean, and I'm reading this text that, you know, a lot of other, like I said, a lot of other people have already read it on their podcast. And of course, you know, everybody's got their own, you know, how they interpret the Bible and things like that. But it's just so fucking boring.
It is. It's pretty rough.
I mean, at least if they're going to write this text, whoever wrote this text, at least they could have do at least they could have at least tried to make it a little bit interesting for people to read. I mean, just what every woman wants to read is a book that, you know, talks about killing women. I mean, every woman wants to read that book and how men are the greatest.
Because we are.
Because we are. Exactly. Now, for people who want to get their conference fixed next year, there are rumors that ReasonCon's coming back.
It is.
It is.
Give us more, like, are you involved? I believe Gene's trying to reach out a little bit, right? And get more help next year.
We have deadlines. Let's just put it that way. We have
deadlines. Oh, wow, already.
Yeah, we have deadlines to get things done. I found out that when Gene had asked Bobby to organize it, that what he meant was the both of us. Apparently,
yeah.
Just understood.
All of a sudden, for was it sickness and health? You started to figure out what that meant, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
well, that's not completely true because Ashley volunteered.
Yeah, I did.
So it wasn't implied.
It was implied.
No, it was not.
But there's deadlines that have been set. There's parts that are moving. Let's just put it that way. There are parts that are moving, and I hope that we are able to announce a date within the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Because we need to put it out there. We need people to start planning for it. And it'll also be the first one that Christian gets to attend too, who is my son. Because he will be 18. Not you got to be 18 to attend, but in
well, for some of the events, maybe.
All right.
Some of the rooms.
Yeah. He turns 18 in October, and his dad can no longer tell him what he can and cannot do. So he wanted his graduation present to be going to ReasonCon. So that's what he's getting.
Yep.
Excellent.
So, as we know things and as we finalize some things, we'll be letting people know.
Sounds good. Well, I'll definitely be promoting it. You know, one of the least favorite parts of a conference is the part where you have to leave and you have to go home and take that long ride home. Did you have, because you did drive through Tennessee and Georgia, did you have a favorite billboard you saw on the ride?
Oh my God. My favorite one.
Zach just set you up.
I know he did.
You're a good host, Jack.
Was in Tennessee.
Zach's a good host.
And we all know that we have a fucking gun problem in America.
Hence the shooting already, I think, today.
Yeah, there was another shooting.
There are a lot of gun ones in Tennessee.
But the one that just kind of made me turn my head and go, what the? Was the big billboard in Tennessee that says silencers are legal.
Silencers are legal. And it shows them attaching a silencer to like a Glock handgun.
Yeah. And I'm going, seriously?
Yeah.
Y'all are promoting silencers?
Well, yeah. That way when you go around shooting,
people don't hear you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
just, I mean, I was like, seriously?
And of course, there's always a shitload of Jesus.
But I noticed
So-
that the shit tons of Jesus is more in the Atlanta area up through the Tennessee area.
Yeah,
You know-
Georgia's got a lot. There's one that was like Trump centric, but it was about Trump and then Jesus and Drain the Swamp, and none of it went together, but
Yeah.
that's the point, I think.
Yeah. I saw that one.
Yeah, there's plenty of billboards to drive through there and keep you entertained.
Yeah. But whatever. Whatever. That's just fun.
Well, you haven't quit, obviously. You're still doing your show with Jerry. How did that get started? And I need to get Jerry on one of these weeks. And what's it like to have a man with such amazing hair in your life?
Intimidating. I reached out to Jerry and said, look, I'm wanting to do a podcast. And I knew Jerry was pretty much done with the speaking circuit and all that. You know, he had gotten his ass handed to him just in real life. And he was pretty much done with speaking and going to conferences and stuff like that. But I reached out to him and said, I got an idea. I want to do a podcast with him named after his book. And I want to talk about the whole concept of finding hope after faith. I presented it to him. He loved the idea. We sat down and talked and worked out, you know, the things that podcasters work out. Do you want to be live? Do you want to be pre-recorded? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? You know, where's the money going to come from to do the things we want to do with the show? And after working out all the details, he thought it was a great idea, and we started Hope After Faith. Well, Hope After Dark came along because there is a dark side to Jerry that a lot of people don't get a chance to see. And there were a lot of things that we both wanted to say on Hope After Faith that we couldn't say because Hope After Faith truly is a family-centered podcast. It's very clean, PG-13. We try to keep it children-friendly, if you will.
So that's why Ashley's not invited?
Yep.
Yes, that's why Ashley's not invited. But there are so many times that there are things we wanted to say while doing Hope After Faith that we couldn't say because of that. And Angie, who is also a part of Hope After Dark, said, "Hey, why don't you guys figure out something for?"
Angie's a huge part of both of them. She's behind the scenes of Hope After Faith.
But she's on the mic in Hope After Dark. Between Angie, Jerry, and me, we said we need to do a adult show with Jerry DeWitt. And I think it was Angie that came up with Hope After Dark. Now I was like, I fucking love it. So now we do Hope After Faith, and then immediately following Hope After Faith, it takes about 5 minutes to swap Skype over. We get into Hope After Dark, you know, which is explicit. We say what we want to say. And Jerry's able to speak freely on that side.
Are those two separate podcasts, or how does it work?
They're two separate podcasts, but I'm putting them all on a Hope After Faith feed. So when you go to iTunes and you look at Hope After Faith, if you look at the episode list, archive list, you'll have HAD and then the episode number. So it'll be HAD001 or whatever. That's Hope After Dark. So because we're using the same Spreaker to run both shows, it all shows up on the Hope After Faith podcast feed. So it's real easy to find.
Excellent. Now, this is the question I try to ask every week. And now we have two, so we could do two of these. Do you have a joke that you'd like to share with the audience?
I don't know any jokes.
We're not
Bobby don't know jokes.
we're not comedians like other
No.
podcasters we know.
I honestly don't. I can't think of
That was a
single
joke, y'all.
I don't know a joke. I don't do jokes.
Hey,
I don't know.
Zach called that.
What?
as long as you make the effort. You know, you make the effort and it's appreciated.
My jokes, the people, what things that people laugh at me about is like the out of context stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't really have a joke.
And we're not comedians like other podcasters. So.
No, sorry.
Or as one of your guests once said, when God collapses a building, he opens a door.
Door.
Damn, Eli.
Eli Bosnick. Yep. That was a great episode too, man. truly was.
Mm-hmm.
So Hope After Faith, track it down, listen. If you want to get your fix.
It's every Wednesday.
Do you do live like you were doing before?
Yeah, we slid Hope After Faith into No Religion Requires time slot. So every Wednesday, 7 Central on Spreaker, we go live. And then at 9 o'clock, immediately following Hope After Faith, we do Hope After Dark. So they'll get about 45 minutes to an hour with Hope After Faith, and they'll get an hour and a half to 2 hours on Hope After Dark, depending on what kind of mood we're in. So it's every Wednesday, except for when it's not.
So to conclude the exit interview, do you have anything to say to your former audience other than to shift their Patreon donations to me?
They can shift all their patron donations to you. We completely got rid of our patron page. We are not going to have a patron page for the Hope After Faith podcast. And now that Jerry does have his, for Team DeWitt, but no, we had a fun run, and we had an amazing group of listeners and family members, and of course, they all know we love them and appreciate them. And I'm hoping that they'll all find their way over and show Jerry and I the same kind of love that they showed me and Ashley.
Now, within our going away, will you still keep the Twitter handles you have? Because I've been, sending you messages.
Yeah, I keep the same Twitter handle, and also as long as I continue to pay the Spreaker bill, our archives will always be there for people to listen to. 187 episodes will be there for people to listen to as long as I continue to pay that bill. So I'm going to continue to pay the Spreaker bill so that people can still listen to No Religion Required. I'll probably pay it until the day I die, so it'll be there.
And Miss Ashley, any final words? We try to let a woman have a final word for once.
Yeah, bye. Come check us out on Wednesday.
Don't whisper into the microphone.
Yeah, come check us out on Wednesdays.
The microphone, talk into it, right?
Yeah. So you got that big black thing in your mouth right there. So. No, actually, I don't.
Ass.
That's good. No one's been calling ass the whole. I tell you, I did not do my job properly.
No, you sure didn't. You didn't get called the ass.
That's all right.
Although you had the ass to back it up.
I try, yeah.
You have earned that ass on several occasions.
The gold is in Fort Knox, as they say.
And so, you know what? I have to say this because, we don't really get the opportunity to talk as much as, as a lot of people do, Zach. But, I still keep an eye on you and I still follow you, and you are doing an amazing job with your podcast. And, I like the fact that you have the forum of, bringing on podcasts and talking to them, and you've never steered away from that. And, I appreciate that very much. And as well as I know other podcasters do as well. So keep up the good work.
Yeah, what she said.
I always have to be the nice one.
Until Alex tries to take me out, which I'm sure he's going to put his focus on some other show he wants to take out after you guys.
And I would imagine if you'd be nice enough to me, I could probably round up Jerry for you.
I know I got to go through you and give you the envelope of cash to get him, right?
Right. That's right.
Hey, I don't blame you. I mean, come on. You got cash in at some point. Well, if you want to support this show, be like Bobby, Hugh, Teode, Jeannie, go to patreon.com/Zachrilege, ZACHRILEGE. I can spell it after 2 beers, so can you. Follow me on Twitter at Zachrilege, like the Zachrilege Cast page on Facebook, and send all mail to zachrilege.cast@gmail.com. Thanks again to Bobby and Ashley for being on tonight.
Absolutely.
The podcasting community is a little sadder now that you're gone. But for the finale, I'm going to steal another show's finale. If you lost and you're hurting, if you're scared and you feel like no one cares and no one understands, you need to know there's a community out there that loves you, cares for you, knows you're capable of amazing things, and that you're worthy of love. If you're struggling, don't be afraid to reach out. Until next week, this is the Zachrilege Cast. Cheers and good night.